What is going on, Movie Meals? Vroom, vroom.
Vroom, vroom,
Non-spoiler
vroom.
review for Ford v Ferrari. Let's get into it. Kyle, what did you think of the film?
I adored this movie a whole lot. I love the director, I love Matt Damon, I love Christian Bale, and they all came to play to deliver a really interesting true story that's about the rivalry that was going on between Ford and Ferrari back in the 60s, and it does talk about that, about how these companies were at war with each other, but it's a lot more of a true story than that. It's a true story about two guys that just had like a friendship that I think a lot of people can relate to, mostly towards the male demographic anyway, but I think a lot of audiences can relate to this kind of friendship where, you know, like they really connect with each other, they understand how each other thinks, how each other speaks to one another, but at the same times, they just bicker and they argue with each other, but the dynamic's just so great, and you just love seeing them together and separately in their own stories as well. That it just makes for great entertainment. Plus, all the racing, all the car stuff is interesting. It's shot so well. It makes you interested in cars. Even if you're not a car guy such as myself, I was still able to understand what was going on with the cars. I was able to understand what the races are like and what the stakes were like, even though I don't know much about cars or racing or any sort of that type of things. And I think that's really what is the great thing about this movie, is that it's a story that tells real life events, tells a real life friendship that everyone can relate to and that everyone can enjoy, even if you're a car fanatic or not. And I think James Mangold did a heck of a job telling this really cool and interesting story.
Yeah, I went into this movie, I'm not a car guy. I mean, I like cars enough. I don't know a whole lot about the inner workings, but I like going fast. That's about it for me. But my dad is a big car guy, and I remember this summer I talked to him and said, you know, hey, this movie's coming out, and he was like, freaked out, he lit up, he told me so much about the story, and I kind of knew the history going in, which kind of, for me, enhanced my viewing. The whole viewing I had, it kind of became a thing where, you know, I wished my dad was there. I could hear when he would laugh at certain scenes that I ended up laughing at. But as a technical movie, looking at it without that bias, it also just delivers. It was really nice seeing Christian Bale just kind of be normal. Like, you weren't going
Like
into
a
the
normal
movie
dude.
like he's in a fat suit or he's
Yeah.
doing this or he's playing a kooky character.
He
Like, it
definitely
wasn't-
lost weight, though, that's for sure. He's definitely skinny.
Yeah, he's
again.
definitely skinnier, but I don't think he's much skinnier than he probably normally is when he's not doing these roles. So it was
Yeah.
nice seeing that, but him and Matt deliver a great performance, as well as John Bernthal and the rest of the supporting cast.
Yeah, the guy who played Ford was awesome. He was
Yeah,
really
and
good.
his wife was great in the movie as well. Christian Bale's wife was great in the movie. You're right, James Mangold delivers. He's made a lot of great movies that I really like,
Yeah.
and this is one of them. The racing scenes are fantastic. All the car stuff, it doesn't overwhelm you with, like, it doesn't make you feel like if you're not a car person you won't get it. It really doesn't dumb it down though at the same time. It really makes it easy. It's a really interesting true story, and you're right, it is a story about friendship. It's a story of having hard conversations with friends, great conversations, your triumphs, your falls with your friends. I think it can be very, very relatable. All the scenes are really, really great. I really, really adored this film. The more I think about it, the more I like it. And now I just, throwing my bias back in, I want to rewatch it. I want to go see it with my dad and just get to, you know, see him enjoy it as much as I did, because I am a sucker for racing movies, even if I'm not a big car guy. And I definitely left the theater in my small mom car making some moves. So, Kyle, what are your negatives?
No, that's the same in my tiny little mom pickup. I did the exact same thing, so I understand.
Busting out of the theater like...
Even though I'm like in a parking lot with like no cars around, just...
Yep. So, what are your negatives?
I just have one negative, and
Is it going to be the same negative?
It
I'm
might
so
be.
curious.
There's this one businessman character who just drove me up a wall because he was just so cliched and annoying and just such a waste of screen time that it just bothered me throughout the movie. And this probably was a guy that was a part of the movie, you know, that guy that always shows up in these scenarios who's like, hey, you can't do that.
They kind
Or
of
like,
paint him as the villain. He's supposed to be our villain of the story.
and, you know, I'm sure that happened in real life. I'm sure that those scenarios did come up, so I'm not taking that away. I'm just saying, whether it was the actor or whether it was just the way the story was written, it just got overdone and it just was annoying, and that I didn't really need that or anything. But honestly, like, if that's my only negative, it's just my personal opinion about one character that was acting kind of annoying. I think that should say a lot about this movie. I do think I'm going to keep remembering this movie towards the end of the year, because I do think it is that good, and just about anyone can watch this because it's just such a blast.
Yeah, I get you. I didn't hate that character as much. He is a little bit kind of painted as a little bit more kooky and a little bit more nutty, and more of a cliche villain. And that didn't bother me because this isn't a good versus evil story. He's kind of a side character to the story of friendship and what these two guys go through, and just the way that, it's also a story of passion and what you love so much and how that affects you and how these guys are racing and that it really takes them to a place of euphoria that like a Star Wars takes me, that kind of feeling. So you relate to it on that level. My only other negative are the people going to this movie theater going to these movies talking, because there were people in our theater who wouldn't shut up. And it's mean, but don't talk in the movies. That's my negative of the movie. I am very curious. I want to throw this out there. Like, my dad told me enough of the true story about just kind of like the actual racing aspect, a little bit about Matt and Christian's characters. But there's a lot of stuff I want to go into a little bit more of how Ford acted. I want to talk to him more about how was that guy who was the villain. Was he really kind of like that, or did the movie really kind of paint him up to be a villain? I'm really curious about all that. But again, this movie excels. It's one of my top 5 of the year right now. It really is in there.
Yeah,
I really adored it. There's still a lot of movies that have come out that have not come to our theater, like a Jojo Rabbit we haven't seen, things like that, Parasite. But there's
Honey
also
Boy,
a lot coming up. Honey Boy.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Lots
coming
of great
up.
stuff this upcoming month.
Yep, we got Knives Out coming up. We got A Good Day in the Neighborhood. Lots. The Irishman's coming out.
So
Star
much
Wars.
in store.
A lot of great stuff. So guys, what did you think of Ford v Ferrari? Please comment below. Let us know. And remember to like, subscribe, share. And as always, thanks for watching, Mom and Dad this time.
Oh, that was so sweet. See you guys.